everyone. You're obviously confused and aroused.
Then where are we now?
Do you have idiots on your planet?
It's me, Zoidberg, remember from high school?
I do enjoy a well-buttered floor, and you're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 10, Episode 6, Saturday Morning Fun Pit. My name is Michelle Burlingame. Not with me are Tommy Roulette,
How's it going?
Pete Woodward,
That's me.
and our guest today, Devon Newson. What up?
Hi.
Welcome back. Getting in under the wire as we wrap this stuff up.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
I was chomping at the bit, as I was just saying when we were getting started. This is the boldest statement I'll make on this show ever. And that's after 128 some episodes. This is my favorite episode.
Ooh.
I laughed out loud multiple times and then voluntarily watched it again.
Oh,
Just
man.
for fun.
Wow.
Just
Oh,
for
man.
fun.
It's refreshing. It is a good episode. And I had a
It's-
feeling that you were going to really like this one, but I didn't know you were going to go that far.
I
That's
seriously, it was so good. Just the anthology episodes have traditionally been really hit or miss,
Mhm.
but this one, they just fucking nailed it on so many levels. I was so pleased.
It definitely
And,
is one of the better ones.
Yeah, like in 10 seasons, like this. Does this rank in the IGN like best episodes, or is this something that's just like a throwaway?
I don't know.
Pretty sure it got like mediocre scores.
Mhm.
Like
It's because the people voting are too young. Like if you grew up when I did, man, that Saturday morning Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
especially because this came out so late in the show's run, you know, like most of the people who were watching it probably didn't get a lot of those references.
Oh my God, it just cut right to the bone on so much stuff. Very happy.
It was nominated for a 2014 Writers Guild of America award.
Right.
I don't think it won, but it was nominated. So
Oh,
the
wow.
writers liked it.
Good. Those are the smart people.
Yeah.
Like,
So how's quarantine life been for you, Devon?
you know, it's not been that different, honestly. No, like I feel lucky enough to like not be affected by this. I mean, like in a way where myself or friends or family members haven't been sick or anything.
And that's as an essential worker too.
Yeah, and I'm an essential worker, so it's like I've been working the whole time. So like outside of the panic attacks I was having when everything was first going down, I've been luckily working for a good company and like been paid well, being where I'm at, and so I can't complain. I bought a bike. I became a bike guy.
Oh,
Ooh.
like a fixie or like a 20 speed or something.
Like a 10-speed Schwinn road bike.
Oh man.
I love it. Like I haven't owned a bike in 10 years, and I'm like totally nerding out on it and going all over. So
I'm like that with my inflatable pool.
I got one. We got one of those like last week or 2 weeks ago, an inflatable pool.
It's life changing.
Yeah. It's
What you need to do is get a little chlorine floater
I got
and
it.
a cover.
Got it. Yep.
And then I'll send you a link. There's a vacuum that you hook up to your hose and it sucks all the gross stuff off the bottom.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's become a labor of love. But I was just in there tonight after work, like decompressing, having a couple drinks, and like, all right. Now if my daughter and her dirty friends would stop getting in it, the water wouldn't be gray. But that's what the chlorine's for.
Kids.
I had my first big long drinking session of the year on July 4th around an inflatable pool with
Ooh, that sounds nice.
with our pals George Dunn and Chelsea and some other people. So
Nice.
Oh man.
yeah,
It's the holiday was all right. I went to an overnight trip to Pittsburgh to sit in a hotel so I could look at different four walls.
Oh.
And it worked out really nicely. Like
nice.
there were a couple speed bumps that we hit like with food delivery and stuff, but just kind of sat in the room and watched Deadwood off the laptop, like plugged the laptop into the TV
Mm-hmm.
and then just chilled out. It was really
Wait,
like a good
put the
reset
laptop
button.
into the TV.
Like with an HDMI cable.
Cord, okay.
Yeah. I shoved it into it and smashed it and was like fuck you, Embassy Suites.
I wish there was like a VHR slot that you could like stick your whole laptop into,
Right?
and then it would appear on the TV.
I can't afford those kinds of docks. Have you had to have in your work any mask confrontations?
Nothing's extremely crazy. Like there's been no tantrums or anything. I mean, there's been tantrums, but not like violent tantrums. Like a guy pulled up in the back, like near the back of the store while I was working out back, and he goes to me, "Is there a wait to get in?" And he could see the line from where we're both standing, and I'm like, "Yeah, there's a line, but it only takes about like 5 to 10 minutes, honestly. At this point, like it's not very long."
Right.
He's like, "What time do you guys open tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Well, we open at 9." Not telling him. I wasn't going to tell him that the line was going to be way longer at 9 a.m. Especially because he then went, "I don't wait in lines. Communists used to wait in lines."
Oh my God.
Oh,
And at
God.
that point, I just stared at him until he drove away.
Das Vidanya, comrade.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm gonna make some guesses about demographics on this guy. Early 50s to mid 60s.
Accurate.
Ethnically pale.
Accurate. Not heard it put that way before, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Driving a Buick.
I didn't take a good look at the car, but it was tan, and it very well could have been.
It was Tam Buick tracks. I think we can make that assumption.
Hey, I had a Buick.
Look,
My first car was a Buick.
No, I know lots of people who aren't old white guys that have Buicks. It's never by choice.
True. That's true.
And it's like
I've known lesbians that didn't drive Subarus or did
exactly.
Drive Subarus, so.
But if they had a choice, the dog cage in the back, a 4-wheel drive Forester, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, that just knowing where your place of business is, and that little conversation is like, oh, I could extrapolate lots from this.
Oh yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Like that's exactly who it was.
Jiminy. So yeah, we're winding down the series here. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but boy, this episode. Now I didn't know where it was going to go. I knew it was maybe an anthology, but then starting with Nixon and Ague and the Saturday morning cartoons, like I used to live for Saturday morning cartoons because it was the only time fucking cartoons were on.
They're the best.
It was really good. And then the way that they managed to convey so many of the tropes of those things, like starting with the Bendy Boo and the Mystery Crew, like they nailed every questionable aspect of that, and even the things like the repeating. We're lost in the repeating forest.
Yeah. It's very Hanna-Barbera. Cheap background art joke.
I also you could see the transparency sheet of it kind of slide over.
Yeah. So there was that, but then the other piece of that was really great, and I don't know if you guys caught it or if it's in the infosphere or what, but there's a scene in the fake intro credits for the show when they're singing the song, and I swear to God, the part where they're getting chased by the motorcycle guy who looks like Evel Knievel, that they're running with David Letterman.
I think it's Jimmy Carter.
Really?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Him.
Because like I said, I watched it twice, and at both times it's like, holy shit, is that David Letterman? Which would have is I think even better than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter's good, but then to have just a weird Letterman cameo, and then bringing in the Globetrotters at George Takei.
Oh yeah.
And Larry Bird.
Oh, God. That whole thing with Larry Bird and the voicemail message.
Mhm.
I want to know, is that the actual message where they reached out to him, or did they say, can you just read this into a voicemail?
No,
I'm sure. Yeah,
He
I'm sure they
actually-
had to have his agreement.
he recorded it at a place. There's a
Okay.
because I went and looked at his page on the Infosphere, and there's a picture of him sitting at a microphone reading the script to record.
Oh.
So
It was so good. But like, I mean, the fact that they got like, search me. No, don't. I'm holding.
I'm holding, yeah. And then
Mhm.
like along with they got all the tropes, like you said, like was it the one joke where Fry as Shaggy was he's like, I got a question for you. How old are we on a scale of 14 to 32?
With the laugh track.
Yeah.
And then would you do it for a bendy brew? Robert Alcoholic.
I like that they kept the dark. They brought the darkness of Bender into it still.
Absolutely. And then the whole like the spooky kabuki with George Takei, like no one's coming to my kabuki theater anymore now that they built this basketball arena.
I love the line at the end where Leela's like, wait, kabuki theaters don't have projectors, and his response is just like, some do. It's my favorite line.
Matter of factly.
Well, one thing that was super meta about this part was that Billy West played Shaggy in one of the more recent Scooby-Doo movies.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh
That's
my God.
amazing.
Was it before or after the?
I'm about to look that up now.
Well, and he also sang the song, like the Bendy Boo and the Mystery Crew song was clearly Billy West singing, which I don't mind as much. Like Billy West singing, fine. Katie Seagal.
Yeah, he was Shaggy in 1998's Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he took over. I thought after Casey Kasem died.
Yeah.
My God.
But that was even before Casey
before
Kasem died.
Casey
He
Kasem
was
died.
retired.
Yeah.
Matthew
The-
Lillard does a lot of them now.
Both the live action and the cartoons.
I mean,
Wow,
yeah, except he didn't do the new movie.
No, the one on HBO Max or Disney Plus or whatever it
I
is.
think it's HBO Max.
You
Okay.
mean Scoob?
That's it. Yeah. Which apparently I have HBO Max. They're gonna kill off HBO Go, I think.
Yeah,
And they upgraded me.
and they're killing the DC universe.
I
Mhm.
apparently
Fire Stick
I'm
doesn't
so
have HBO Max yet.
there's some kind of an upheaval going on, I think.
Hmm.
The Zoidberg stuff in this thing was so good too. Just like cloning is a sin against nature. And yes, I'll take you to the cloning room. Like that whole just having him be there in the limited amounts he was, even better in the Purpleberry place where just with the Bort. But like,
Mhm.
just like everything, like where they're in the bed and the 5 Globetrotters are all in the same bed, and like Shaggy wakes up and sees them and then jumps under it, and it's just like everything was so fucking good. Like they just nailed it on so many levels, and like tying it all up and like wrapping it around.
So carefully.
But just the way that it wrapped up too, where like even the thing where Leela goes, he's like, they kill Zoidberg inadvertently by ripping off his head. And then the Globetrotters play with it. But then the professor and the stuff they did with the professor in all of these was so subtle. Like just the change they made to him in the Scooby-Doo episode. Like he looked different, but it was still clearly him, but like they just molded his moldy face some different. Like it was more filled out or something.
Like stretched his head a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Like that, too.
But like he's like, oh, and we caught this dragon ghost in this cage. And when Leela goes over and just like wipes the mask off his face, where it's just like she wipes it off, and then there's still the mask around it, but it's just there. And then gives the long explanation. He's like, but that's not why I did it. I did it because I'm mentally ill. Which explains all of those Scooby-Doo episodes. Like it was so beautiful and wrapped up so nicely. I could watch that show. I'm not going to say for 128 episodes, but I could probably watch it for 10 and enjoy it. Like if they could reboot Futurama as Bendy Boo and the Mystery Crew and just throw in fucked up like guests, I'd be so happy.
I'd watch it all the time.
I'd probably like that better than Disenchantment, honestly. Just saying.
I like Disenchantment.
I do too.
Disenchantment's fine, but that on that note, did any of you watch that new Eric Andre special?
I haven't yet.
No.
It's because he's the demon in Disenchantment.
Yeah,
but
Lucy, right?
But God, it's just he's crazy.
I heard it was good.
It's very Eric Andre.
I'll definitely check it out.
Which I guess is, that goes both ways for people. Do you remember people protesting shit like cartoons? Did that happen in you guys' lifetime? Because it certainly did in mine.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always happened, but it was more like, trying to think of what it would have, I mean, The Simpsons.
South Park.
Yes.
South
Simpsons,
Park.
South Park, Family Guy, all that.
Gay Teletubbies, indoctrinating children.
Pokemon.
Oh yeah, Pokemon.
Our children are fat and dumb, and we blame cartoons. Which going way the hell back. Like when I was in college the first time and studying psychology, I ended up doing some like research on whether or not like television or video games made kids more violent. And the thing was, it didn't have to do with like whether the shows or the games were more violent. It had to do with like the overstimulation. Like the thing that made kids wild out was just like, like stuff just like pounding them in the brain through the eyes like nonstop. And like the more activity and the more screen time they spent, the more like enervated they would be. Which totally explains what's going on with my kid. Like, because she's just glued to the TikTok all day. Well, I put a 2-hour limit on it, but she burns through that. Like,
Wow.
The Chinese can only steal her information for 2 hours a day.
For 2 hours.
What happened to that sack full of books I gave her last year?
I mean, she still has them. She's working her way through the summer reading list right now. Because she's going into 6th grade, and it's like, oh, we gotta buckle down on this shit.
You can read while you do TikTok dances, probably.
Probably. I mean,
You can make a TikTok of yourself reading a book.
that's yeah.
There you go.
That actually
you could read
like
an entire book over a series of a whole bunch of TikTok videos.
TikTok.
well, it's so like she's always
10
like, I want to take your microphones and do ASMR. And like, number one, I don't think she knows what ASMR is really, like what it means. She's just like, I want to do an ASMR video. Like that, I should actually be like, why don't you do an ASMR video of you just reading really calmly and quietly? So as you're reading your books, you just like, so then, but like, there's another one where there's Kyle Kinane's doing a YouTube series called Public Domain with Kyle Kinane, where he just like reads chapters of.
He's still reading Dracula, right?
Yeah, it puts on the cape and like.
He's been doing that, and also Will Wheaton has been doing the same thing because he actually is an audiobook narrator. He's done on all of John Scalzi's books, and he did Ready Player One and Armada by Ernest Cline, and he's like a really great. Like I love listening to Will Wheaton read books, to be honest with you, but he's been doing a lot of short stories and like sci-fi, like Isaac Asimov,
Oh,
cool,
Wesley.
like, yes, and right now he's doing The Invisible Man, and he's been releasing like 1 or 2 chapters, so they're only between like 10 and 20 minutes long, and he's releasing them on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts and stuff, and it's really good. But yeah, I've been liking that trend.
Yeah, I just something to cleanse the fucking palate. I did like the as the protest was going on, Nixon bent to it like immediately, and then has Agnew call Hollywood to complain, just like rah, rah, and like even that, I love it so much because it's like just that whole thing at the beginning where the guy comes, he's like, we found the TV remote. He's like, good, I'm gonna give you a Purple Heart. I didn't get injured. That's enough governing. What was all of your experience growing up with the strawberry shortcake thing? Because I was at strawberry shortcake ground zero right in the when they invented that and put it out there for consumption. Like I was right in the middle of that demographic. So all the girls on my street had the dolls, and then I wound up with the purple pie man because you had to have gender specific toys. And then my daughter, there was like the second or third reboot that was done like anime, and there were all those toys and shit. But like, was that around at all for you guys? Like that specific show?
Strawberry shortcake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very marginally. I barely overlapped strawberry shortcake.
I know about it, but I don't know shit about it.
I know that shit's delicious, but I've never watched it on TV.
Yeah. I think for me and for Devon, you'd be looking at more like Sailor Moon or maybe Power Rangers. Like all the girls had like the pink ranger and the yellow ranger shit, and then the boys had like red and blue and green, black and white.
And the guy who murdered his roommate with a sword, that one.
I think that
came way later.
Yeah.
Later.
that was after meth came out. I mean, but along those lines, that makes me think like, how fucking good would it have been for them to do an anthology episode like this and do Power Rangers with live action actors? Like throw that in there instead of the cartoon.
That would be wild.
That would have like better than that fan film that we tore apart, because that was just disturbing on a number of levels. But like, even if they did the Power Rangers, it could have all just been in costume. So it could have been other actors or gymnasts or whatever, and then just like stick on like masks that have like a big eye for Leela and like a red crest for Fry, right. and all with like the no face. Like that would have been amazing.
Like they do with like SpongeBob when they go to the real world and stuff, just like get all these like super cartoony looking like props to like act as the characters,
Well, I brought this up on the show before. This guy Wayne White, who is an artist, he was the designer or one of the designers and the head puppeteer on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh,
and so. And I think the reason I brought it up is there was a Jumbotron screen clip like a few episodes ago. I think it was in this season where it was like live action puppet stuff and it looked just like his stuff. But like, there's a documentary about him on Prime called Beauty is Embarrassing. It's fantastic. He's a fascinating guy and the art that he does is really cool. Like his current stuff that he's making for the most part is he gets like thrift store landscape paintings, and then he paints like 3D words as part of the landscape over them, but it'll be like just crazy shit. Like, and they're gorgeous paintings and they're super funny and smart and wonderful. Like I love them. And that's the sort of thing where like, I want to see like live action stuff like that, where it's just like, he did the Peter Gabriel Big Time video. So all of that stuff where it looks like rickety, like weird shit, like that's totally down his thing. So like seeing even like, there's an episode of Futurama like that or anything, I'd probably watch it at this point just because it's like, I mean, South Park almost leans into that aesthetic where it almost looks like the cut paper kind of things moving, but they've gotten so far away from that over the years. But this whole segment with the cereal and the cereal commercials and tying it in, because every fucking show back then, every show on Saturday morning had a tie-in cereal, and they probably still do, but like that was when Mr. T had a cereal that was just Captain Crunch in a T shape. Sometimes there were tea berries in it. There's like every single fucking show. So I don't even think there was a strawberry shortcake cereal. So I think it's funny that they picked this one. But then tying it in with all this other stuff was just.
Was there a Smurf cereal?
I believe so.
Probably.
What
really brought me back in this part of the show was we'll be right back and then
Bort.
we're back type thing. I just remember watching Saturday Night cartoons and that being on there.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Little cutscenes.
And the whole, I mean, and basically like all of the stuff with the professor up in the castle, like I have to get those purple berries, is basically Gargamel from the Smurfs too. It was like all the same shit.
Yeah.
And then, but like even those little like that "we'll be right back" where the bee is stinging the guy in the back.
That was my favorite one.
And then the Zoidberg dragon just Bort. And I can't even remember if that tied into something that was on Strawberry Shortcake or something like that, where it was like, what is he aping? But just that like just having Zoidberg say one stupid word over and over. I could get behind that for 10 episodes too.
My son is also named Bort.
I was just watching an episode of Angie Tribeca before this, and they totally ripped off that gag where the Cape Fear episode where Bart's like freaked out in the bedroom and Homer comes in wearing the hockey mask like, hey Bart, check out my new chainsaw. Like the one guy was like, there's a guy in the car that was like getting chased and gonna get murdered, and he shows up, he's like, comes running out of the store. Look, they got a great deal on knives. And they did like 2 or 3 iterations of it. Like, oh, this is comfort food. I love this. There's the line from Bender, whatever his name was. It's funny how we never get tired of saying the word purple. Never. It just like it having had such a string of weird episodes, like just having this thing where it's like, now it's just fucking nonsense, but we're really gonna nail it.
Nonsense. But then like just total hilarious Futurama jokes got in there too. Like as soon as Fry shows up as the Lord of Loquat.
Yeah.
And Bender's like, you're different and I hate you.
Right. Even like the weird scruffy carriage driver. Announcing Lord Loquat.
There goes the purple hood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
I did like all of the fake cereal commercials during this one. So one of my favorite parts, because I mean, we've all seen cereal commercials where they have like the bowl of cereal and the orange juice and the milk and like a pancake and a side of bacon and waffles, and like I just liked how they made fun of that with the
it's a nutritious part of your breakfast, including
along
eggs.
with juice, toast, ham, eggs, bacon, milk, cheese, liver, waffles, and a big horse vitamin.
Like, did you notice this? There's the first one with the 2 boys, and then the 3rd boy who didn't have any cereal, and then
was the 3rd.
Then they switched over to the one with the mom and her daughter. And the daughter kept getting like puffier and puffier every time they cut back. Like she and I thought that was happening, but I couldn't be sure. And then on the second watch, I saw like, okay, but like her face definitely filled out as they came back. Mm-hmm. But she's like, what is it? As an active mom, I care about these things. I'll read the box while you start eating. Which is more often than not how it happens. You're just like, just fucking do it, and hopefully you don't poison yourself or get cancer. Like, I can't.
All new sugar frosted, sugar blasted purple berry puffs. You can really see the sugar. I don't know which I like more, original or type 2.
And then this
high fructose corn syrup.
And they come back to their like, wrap up episode where it's like that that whatever we'll never learn, but we did. It's like, bye. And then what is it? The purple berry or like the pink berry, whatever, the Pinkadot came in, the purple thing that looks like Slider from the Indians started honking on the uniform. But
Pokeberry.
Yes, that was it, Pokeberry.
Yeah.
But when they wrapped that up, well, they did the bye with B-U-Y, 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 and then bye-bye with just like saying goodbye. Mm-hmm. But the interstitial thing that they threw up then was, we'll be back with more commercials after these important messages. which again nailed it, because it's like, I really want to dig into this, and I'm pretty sure there's been some documentaries. Like, I never watched that Toys That Made Us shit or anything, but like, so many of those shows were just like, oh, here's these weird dolls we bought the rights to in Japan. Let's pay some Koreans 50 cents to animate it and send this out.
So many of those shows in the 80s.
So many. And like, it goes so deep, and then people got fixated on them. But whatever. Like, I remember getting toys where it's just like, oh, here's some weird Japanese robot, and you had to make up your own stories about him. What the fuck is that all about? That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
How do you know who's good and who's bad if you don't have like a whole character sheet to look at and want to buy everything about?
Obviously, the best looking guy is the good guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Magnetron looked pretty cool too. I mean, how can you tell if they're robots? Because one's pointy and one's round, I guess.
I think it's called the Turing test.
If they can answer a chat bot.
Yeah. You need a little Harrison Ford toy to figure it out.
If there's one thing that recent events have taught us, you can't trust science for anything.
Honestly, not.
What do scientists know? Duh.
We can't trust experts.
So like when they came back, that second protest at the White House, again, fantastic. And lots of like cameos, H.G. Blob, Randy. No, it's because they're violent. And then he's throwing Molotov cocktails. It was so lovely. Just everything. But like the G.I. Zap episode, this is the part that like,
I laughed so hard at some of these Nixon cut-ins.
Oh my God. out loud over and over, like both of the times I watched it. Cause like I just snuck this in during my lunch break yesterday to take my notes and be done. And then I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the best episode I've ever seen. And she can just watch it for enjoyment. So she's like, well, why didn't you watch it with me? I'm like, I'll actually watch this one again with you. Like I'm into it. So we're going through it, and both of us like almost tearing up from all of those Nixon edits. And just like the way that they fucking nailed, because I watched a lot of G.I. Joe. I used to have a lot of G.I. Joe figures when I was growing up. Like that was my shit. I gave up on G.I. Joe older than I should have, but when they announced a character called the Annihilator that I saw at KB Toys on the rack, I was like, well, that's kind of like if he annihilates everybody, then like what's the point? And that's what broke it for me. But like up until that point, like I wanted the 8-foot aircraft carrier thing and like all of that shit. Like it was that was my childhood, was G.I. Joe.
They totally parodied that show well. Like with my favorite was how they parodied Cobra. Like,
acronym?
Yeah,
acronym.
A criminal regiment of nasty young men.
Yeah, which is
that's clever. I'll leave that.
I'll leave that.
Basically, I mean, it's better than Proud Boys.
Yes.
But the song where they fight for the heck of it because they like it, and just the way that they adjusted the animation to make like Zap was much more like buffed up and had a stronger jaw. Like they made them less cartoony. Yeah. The professor dressed up like the I forget the guy's name. He was the interrogator, Dr. Mindbender or some shit, with just the suspenders and the cape and the Danzig belt.
Oh yeah.
With Zoidberg as like the Destro guy. Like all of it was so good. But like just the Nixon comments. No one can complain about this patriotic dreck. and then the signs from the protesters, there was one that said "Bring back seal hunting." This is so good. But God, just everything that Nixon cut in.
My favorite
it said "Bring back seal hunt."
Seal Hunt,
which was a television series.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That was a show.
Apparently not violent enough.
It ran for 155 episodes, starring
when?
Lloyd Bridges.
Oh,
1958 to 1961.
Was that like a Flipper spinoff or something?
I I will read you a part of the synopsis.
Please.
Mike Nelson, played by Lloyd Bridges, is a freelance scuba diver, a former Navy frogman who left the service for about 4 years before the series begins. He is well-known expert on diving who is often called upon for difficult or dangerous projects. He travels on his boat, the Argonaut, and outmaneuvers villains, salvages everything from a bicycle to a nuclear missile, rescues children trapped in a flooded cave, and other such adventures.
What are the other such adventures? Those are pretty disparate.
I don't know. It ran for 155 episodes, so
I smell a new
4
podcast.
seasons.
Is that
It's Sea Hunt. Sea Hunt. I thought it's not Seal Hunt. It's Sea
Oh,
Hunt.
Sea
Yeah.
Hunt.
Oh, did I say
I was
Sea
trying to
Hunt?
find it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sea Hunt.
Yeah. Sea Hunt. Okay, I get it. I got
He
it.
was a former Navy SEAL, right? Or
I like Seal Hunt better.
me too. And it's a good knuckle tattoo.
Oh my, yeah, right. That would be perfect. There's 4 of each. A friend of mine he just started a new band called the Heavy Seas, like SEAS.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've been on his ass the whole time, just be like, no, it needs to be the Heavy C apostrophe S. Like, it's way better. Like, you can take that in a lot of different directions. It would be good.
The sea can't for anything.
Maybe that's where we should go when we wrap this up in a few episodes, is do a watch along with Sea Hunt. Do you think it's streaming anywhere? Why you're looking it up? Is Sea Hunt streaming? Like, is it
They're on YouTube.
fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was already looking at a page where can I watch Sea Hunt.
It's definitely on the case.
Just so, like, every single thing that happened in this vignette was brilliant. Like the thing where they start jumping out, like Fry being freezer burn
Oh yeah.
from being frozen and having an ice ray and a fire ray. But when they start calling out the names and Nixon is like overdubbing, he's like, I'm what, Nutcracker? He's like, oh, that's not good for a woman. How about we just call her Pat? What was Amy's? Because Bender was Orphan Crippler. He's like, I got nothing.
Crippler, yeah.
Amy Powder Puff.
Right. And then as they're parachuting down, like Fry has both of his legs up over his head, and he's got both guns between his legs. But that's the point where it just gets like fucking fantastic. Where like he gets hit. He's like, oh no, I'm hit. Oh, he's sleeping. Or Leela has the big nutcracker and puts it around the guy's neck. He's like, I'm fitting you for a new hat.
Incoming service to Airbit telegram.
We're gonna blast them all to church.
Oh yeah, that one's my favorite one.
Tell my wife I'll be home for dinner.
Right. After Zap is your parachute packed and loaded? Yes, good, because I forgot mine. It's like, Mayday. I just landed safely next to this giant naturally occurring fireball.
At Disneyland. Hi, Tinkerbell.
His arm comes flying out.
Yeah.
Who throws the axe and it hits the guy in the chest? He goes, "Yay, I caught it!" like every he's like, "Oh, look, we're driving by, saving these children in our magical bullet sucking tanks that we have."
Yeah, that's what they're called.
It was just every fucking second of it was so goddamn good. Like I loved it so much. And
Nixon is just like one of the best characters to just like, I think low-key he's one of the like most unheralded Futurama characters. Like everything he's in and like every line he delivers, I think is like super funny.
And still an ostensibly terrible person. I'd prefer to have him as the leader of our country now, even though he's dead compared to where we're at now. Like it's just like he was a nefarious fucking dude.
Oh yeah.
Like, but just, and through a variety of sources like podcasts and shit, I've just heard some other stuff about him where like apparently he was a huge drunk and would just like he would get shit-faced every night and at like 4 a.m. call the Joint Chiefs of Staff and be like, we need to bomb the commies. And they'd be like, we'll get right on it. And then he'd pass out and forget about it all in the morning. And one time in the 60s, like there was a big ass protest, like hundreds of thousands of hippies like hanging out in front of the Lincoln Monument or something. Middle of the night, he's wasted and has the driver take him out there, just starts going around to rap with hippies. He's like, why are you out here? You know, like deeply, just the fact that he had at least some kind of weird empathy, even when he was drunk, like I can get behind that. So having him be like the way that this all wraps up.
We all know Nixon was looking for some weed on the low.
For sure. Well, you know, he might have been swapping pills with Elvis.
Oh yeah.
If they come from a doctor, they're not drugs. Everybody knows that. The way that it wraps up, where he's just like, okay, cut to the PSA, and they go into the thing that was like the knowing is half the battle from the old G.I. Joe cartoons, like that whole thing with Dwight and Kubert, beating the shit out of each other, always behind that, anytime. Yeah. But for Nixon and Agnew, were they in a motorcycle with a sidecar, or was it just a convertible? I can't remember. Like whatever vehicle they pulled up in, it was like open air. It's just like, hey, stop fighting. Violence is never the answer. Well, how do we get to decide who has the ball? And Agnew just like tearing it in half. Like, there, how do you like your stupid ball now?
I like that they brought Dwight and Kubert into it because it made me think of like one of my favorite Futurama lines when Benders becomes an actor. I think it's when he becomes the actor and he's like, have you ever tried sitting, this is what like he could say to all the protesters, like, have you ever tried turning off the TV, sitting down with your children and hitting them?
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite lines ever on that show.
I'm almost surprised. I thought that during the Scooby-Doo episode, while they were in the professor's cloning lab, that they would have brought Kubert into that. Like, I thought that might have been a twist. But just having a mentally ill George Takei was okay by me, too.
That was enough.
Yeah, like, that's beautiful. Has he been on it before?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like, that's the part where I'm just fuzzy on all that shit. Like,
the Star Wars episode is one of them.
Yeah, I feel like he's been on multiple, just like Al Gore was on a couple. And...
Yeah, like random little lines here or there, but they had like that big episode where they got stuck on that planet.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Their ship almost got stolen by the Star Trek cast.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
He is in Where No Fan Has Gone Before, Bender's Game, Proposition Infinity, Zap Dingbat, and Saturday Morning Fun Pit. So he is in 5 different episodes of Futurama.
And this was the last one.
Yes.
God damn it. So we've got 7 more to go with no George Takei.
Oh man. You might as well stop now.
No, we're gonna run this into the fucking ground.
It's crazy you guys made it this far.
It's just because we're stupid.
Because you're fun people and you're dedicated and it's a great show. And,
it was so incredibly refreshing to put the episode on and immediately be like, oh my God, I love this. I love this from like minute 2 and was with it the whole time. Is that a live cat or a stuffed cat, Tom?
It is a live cat that just crawled up on me. See it?
And you're just you're flipping it around like Agnew with Nixon's
He's
head.
a jerk.
Mine is next to me instead of behind me like she usually is. She's always here though. But I do want to say that the very last line of this episode is perfect, which is stay tuned for 6 hours of golf, because I vividly remember being at my grandparents' house watching cartoons in the morning and then having to sit for the rest of the day with my grandpa on the couch while he fucking napped and watched golf.
Did he watch the golf?
I visited my grandparents. Yes. Or he was asleep. But Oh man.
Because like I totally had that same experience, and if it wasn't golf, it would be like Wide World of Sports was like, here's the National Kentucky Whittling Championship for the next 4 hours, or bowling.
Or went to like infomercials too. A lot of times,
yeah.
like, it was always just the worst TV.
Always.
I mean, like, so with me, a lot of it was my stepmother's parents. So we'd usually be with my dad on weekends. My stepmother's parents lived about a half hour away, and we'd go hang out with them. But they were from the old country, or a couple of different old countries, I guess. But whatever. But you know, and really, I mean, to look at it in hindsight, had the most amazing mid-century modern bungalow with like, I mean, like it's long gone and probably developed over. But like we'd go in and it'd be like the parents sitting around drinking wine or whatever. And then we're left. You can go in the back bedroom and watch the 8-inch black and white television. And if we were lucky, there might be like an episode of Superhost or Star Trek or something. And I don't even like Star Trek, which is like, this is something that is not like old white men in weird pants hitting things with sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like when we finally got the Nintendo hooked up to that TV, like the good old fashioned NES, that was a game changer because you could actually go and like really entertain yourself for hours. Whereas before it was just like, I am in purgatory in this house that's not unpleasant, but it's certainly not modern. That sort of stuff was really like, I don't know. I was trying to explain relativity to my friend's daughter a couple weeks ago, and she was not into it. But when you look at it in that prism of being like, and this is my understanding of relativity based on the way Henry Rollins explained it. So bear with me.
Okay.
It's when you're 10 years old, an hour or any other unit of time is a much larger portion of the time you've been alive. So your perception of that time is bigger. So when you're someone who's old as fuck like me, and it's like, yeah, well, 10 minutes is, I mean, I could spend 10 minutes just working on half of a single bowel movement. Now that's nothing. But when you're a kid, it's like 10 minutes is literally just an eternity. And so it's like, you know, they were bitching about something, and I'm just like, no, let me explain to you why this is. And then she just kept dipping her head under the water in the pool. I'm like, I'm trying to educate you. You want to be willfully ignorant.
10 minutes when you're a kid, like if you're like in trouble, got sent to the corner or something, like 10 minutes is enough for you to lock your knees and pass out. Like,
yeah.
It's a long time.
So like I know you've watched it because I think it was you watching it that made me check it out, Michelle, but that show Don't.
Oh yeah.
Which
I love that show.
Which is so much fun, but like
it's amazing.
Isn't Adam Scott host that?
Yes, and Ryan Reynolds kind of like voiceover jokes the whole thing.
He's the announcer.
It's like he makes fun of the games that they play and the contestants, and they're even like our fake little commercials for fake products in between segments, like that have to do with the games at and the first episode. The whole time I watched it, I was like, is this scripted or is this an actual game show? Because I can't tell. But it is an actual game show. It's just there's also a scripted element to it with Ryan Reynolds doing the voiceovers that brings it gets it that like hilarious weird vibe, and I love it.
And it's violent. Like just seeing people get run over by giant tires and shit, like it brings out kind of the best of like Double Dare.
Yeah, it's like adult Double Dare, but there's also one where they
Otherwise
basically what was that?
As what?
Otherwise known as ADD.
Yeah.
Or Fear Factor, but less gross.
Yeah, there's a game that they play where they put the person on a treadmill in front of under heat lamps with like a propane heater blasting at them, and they feed them peppers that get increasingly hotter, and for each pepper that the contestant eats, they get like $1,000, $4,000, $6,000, 12, like, and it just keeps going up.
If they eat all 5, they get $20,000. So it's a team of 4 people. I think the basis of it is you could, like, if you win all the games, you can win like $100,000 for your team. And then there's like some side challenges and shit where you can make some more. But like that one, even, it's like you just have to deal with it for like a thing. But there was I think on the same episode or the second episode, there's one where like they have 2 people in harnesses and they lift them up over the stage 30 feet, and they have to hold each other's arms like trapeze
for
artists
a full minute.
For a minute.
Yeah.
So number one, they're in the air, like fucking high in the air, just held up by wires like Peter Pan. And if they let go or drop, like, they're not gonna fall and get smashed. Right. But for every 15 seconds, they were getting like $10,000 or $2,500 or something. They're just banging up. It's so good. But
how do I watch this? I've never.
It's on Hulu. It's an ABC show, but it's on Hulu.
It's on
like
Hulu.
Next day.
Okay. I still do not have Hulu. Like, I haven't had it in a while.
I mean, you can tie it in with your Disney Plus if you're watching the Star Wars.
I do have Disney Plus, so I could just activate it that way.
It's like $8 for Disney Plus and $10 for Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN.
Oh, it's only okay.
It's something like that. I mean, it's like a bundle where it's, of course, you're paying for ESPN that I know I'd never watch.
Mm-hmm. I watched the
Ocho,
the Michael Jordan thing on there. That was pretty cool.
Is it just like is it a series of underwear commercials, or what's the deal? Is it his mustache choices?
Yeah, it's just side by side picture slideshow of him and Hitler's mustaches next to each other. No, it was like a documentary of his last season with the Bulls, but there was also like a really funny Larry Bird thing in that, where like Michael Jordan beat Larry. It was like when Larry Bird was on his way out of like his greatness and getting ready to retire, Michael Jordan beat him in the playoffs, and Larry Bird went to congratulate Michael Jordan. This was when he coached the Pacers. Larry Bird came to congratulate Michael Jordan for beating them, and Michael Jordan basically just said, he like went to go like lean in his ear, like he was about to graciously like say something nice back to him, and he just goes, "Fuck you, asshole! I beat you."
That's gracious.
He was clearly like messing with him, but like to be able to like say that to Larry Bird, like right to his face, is so funny to me.
Like nice mustache.
Yeah.
Which interesting choice, the Larry Bird in this episode, no mustache. I remember, not that I'm a big basketball fan or have great memories of it anyway, but like I remember him having that 80s mustache that everybody had.
Playing days, he definitely did.
My cousin was a basketball player and he had that. I think he still might. Tom's got his deal going on with the mustache and the beard, and you got the same thing kind of growing through, but it's not like you're just like, no, here's my carpet sweeper.
It's big Ned Flanders fluff.
Yeah, I don't, is that, has that passed as an ironic thing? Or is it still like, my father had a mustache forever, and that's probably part of my aversion to it, is just like, I am not he, so I will not. But like, aesthetically, it just seems so like.
Well, the mustache makes the man, so.
I don't know. I don't want to be judged on the value of my upper hair lip thing.
Your upper hair lip.
Upper lip hair, not my upper hair lip. That would be something else entirely.
Yes. Yes. Very different.
Oh, I'm like, I feel bad because I love this episode so much that we just rushed the fuck through it.
That's how I feel about all the anthology episodes, though, is like, because there's not this overarching story, you can't delve as deeply into them as you can some of the other episodes. Like it's just
Or just skip it entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
like this sucked. Fuck that. Let's talk about cheeseburgers.
But yeah, it's just all you have to talk about is the jokes, not so much the story or character development. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm as we didn't start this episode talking about how glad we are that the series is coming to an end, but this almost makes me want to miss it. Like if there's a few more like this, like I might have to revisit this just randomly.
It's definitely one of the better ones because I mean, like we all love the Saturday morning cartoons. So like I was really excited to like when I found out which one we were going to be watching and to talk about it, just because Saturday morning cartoons were great and like just remember.
But they were awful, but it was a fun part of being a child.
Oh yeah, like you look forward to it. Like you wake up from Friday night, like doing whatever, playing video games, and all you have to do is eat sugary cereal and lounge around in your pajamas and sit 2 feet in front of the TV and watch like Yu-Gi-Oh and shit.
Is that so? It almost makes me wonder now, like, if we extrapolate this based on my daughter's age and what she's watching, like when she's this age, are whatever media they're consuming then, is that going to be like just parodies of yelling Australians from YouTube? Like I don't know if you're familiar with this or if any of you are. And I love the fact that Michelle's computer froze up again on the best fucking face. Have you taken a picture of this, Tom? Because this ought to be this. Hurry before it goes. Okay. She looks like Duo the owl in Duolingo.
That's amazing.
So like 90% of the videos she watches are
is the host now.
Oh, no, Michelle's back, but we caught that wonderful face you made. It was perfect.
So I just got new internet. I changed from AT&T to Cox.
Yeah.
And I have just discovered that because my computer is directly over the microwave in the kitchen, that every time my roommate puts her food in the microwave, my internet disconnects. It just happened twice in a row because she was microwaving something.
That seemed like the time frame for a Stouffer's mac and cheese. Is that what she was cooking?
Yeah, I don't know.
4 minutes, then 2 minutes. So like 90% of the videos that my daughter watches, and it's not just her, it's like her and her friends. It's a thing because these people are influencers who make their living off of this. It's like families with lots of children in Australia who they all yell. They just spend the entire video like, it's like nonstop 120 decibel like insanity. I can only think that like 15 20 years from now, and they're trying like, do you remember when we were 10? Or is that even then going to be like a completely fractured experience because everyone is so drilled down into like their own, back then we all had the same, and again, for me more so than for you guys, but for you guys more so than people now, where it was like I had 3 channels, you guys probably had 5. Now there's infinitely numbered like on-demand entertainments.
I think the media giants like still rule, and there are still cartoons that kids are growing up with that have transcended into like social media and stuff like really well. Like the SpongeBob memes are super huge, like that survives. Yeah. And then like you have like Regular Show and Adventure Time, all that stuff. Like I mean the cartoons are definitely different. Like the subject matter is way different, and like it's weird to think about like the shows that we watched, like Michelle and I watching as a kid, like going back and seeing how old they look now, like they perspective wise look like what Scooby-Doo and G.I. Joe looked like when we were kids.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I don't know. I think it's always going to be there. Like there's always going to be like the zeitgeist of popular cartoons, but it's just, I mean,
I had my first brush with her version of nostalgia recently. It was not good. There's apparently, and again, on TikTok, some kind of rap remix of the Caillou theme song.
Oh, that cartoon with the bald kid that's awful.
It's like he's like the cancerous Charlie Brown who's Canadian and whines incessantly. So like somebody's made like a dance remix of that song, and I was just sitting on my porch, and she had a friend over in the backyard, and they're shooting videos of each other on their skateboards on their phones, and I hear this shit. I'm like, Phoebe, what the hell is that? And she's like, oh, it's a song. It's Caillou's Cool. I'm like, I never want to hear it again. And if I do, I'm taking away your phone. Like I like that's the one show that I would just after, like when she was little, I'd be like, okay, you can fucking watch this. And then after a point, I was like, she's like, I don't watch this. I'm like, you can watch literally millions of other things. This is the most annoying shit because it's each episode is 20 minutes of this little like just entitled Charlie Brown being like, you know, it's like the Dumb and Dumber thing. It's like, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? That's the fucking cartoon.
And that's
it's just bad.
And that's when you go, hey kid, here's some Ren and Stimpy. Have fun.
Right. I mean, I actually a couple nights ago we started watching Pee-wee's Big Holiday again, and she was really into it. So I think she's kind of come around on that. I'm on the fence right now because they're showing Billy Madison at the drive-in this weekend. And my ex-wife took her to the drive-in last weekend, and she was a real stinker about going and then liked it. But like, she's like, Dad, they're playing Billy Madison. Because I've shown her the Billy Madison. Like, we watched it, and Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, she's seen both. Trying to educate her right. She's like, can we go see Billy Madison and bring my friend? And I'm kind of like, maybe we can, because you know what, I'll be there just shouting out lines. What day is it? October? Fantastic.
Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is the last night for Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore.
It is?
Yeah, because then it's Gremlins and Beetlejuice, Poltergeist and The Shining, and The Hangover and Bridesmaids the week after that.
I think Poltergeist and The Shining on Sunday.
It's ending.
I want to go to that.
It's ending on Thursday night. When did it start? Because they went to the thing on Saturday, I think.
I think like Monday through Thursday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 13 through 16. I'm checking my texts that I get every couple of days from the Autorama.
I gotta get that set up.
Yeah. Can you please forward that to me, because I might have to jiggle some stuff around tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll screenshot it.
Thank you. Anyway, you know, we digress. Who knew? Aside from frontline, you know, essential work and this new bike of yours, what have you been up to, Devon? Is there anything pluggable that you've been involved in lately?
Nothing pluggable. I've really been like, this year has been like totally like self-care, self-work year for Devon. Like, I've just been working. I decided to like stop drinking for the first 6 months of the year. So I did that and just like kind of like reeled everything in and got into like a bunch of stuff that I haven't been into for a really long time. Like, I bought a Switch. I've been really, like Michelle knows, I've been really into Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm almost at like 400 hours of playtime on Animal Crossing.
Oof.
You just got it like a month and a half ago.
I got it April 20-something, 28th or 22nd, around there.
That game, the thing about that game is it changes every single month. So everyone who has it has to play it for like a whole year before they can like start to think about like not playing it, because we're all hooked. Because we don't want to be in the real world. We want to be on our happy little island where we catch bugs and we eat coconuts right off the tree.
Oh yeah. Devon's Island was the first island I visited.
Are there pineapples? They have pineapples on the trees?
I don't think they've got pineapples.
Not yet.
Yeah, there might be some.
It's an oversight.
Mm-hmm.
This is my video and game investment, was an NES Classic console. So it has 30 of the classic games, and we just play Dr. Mario a lot.
Solid.
Which I mean, that's it. It's like head to head, me and my girlfriend. I've ventured into like getting into Metroid a little bit, or Super Mario, and like my reaction time anymore, especially when I'm playing video games, not good.
They help sharpen it.
I mean, not when you've already numbed it up pretty good. Trying
There's
to deal with life in general,
Yeah.
There might be a lot of chemical alteration happening just to be like, oh, everything's on fire, but I can breathe through the smoke. Okay. That's fine.
Not if you wear a mask.
I know, it traps in all the carbon monoxide.
You breathe
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was carbon monoxide is breathing out. It's bad. It's going to make me mentally disabled if I don't breathe oxygen all the time. How am I going to vape if I have a mask on?
I can't get popcorn lung with this mask.
Exactly. Oh, brother. Well, I don't know that we'll be able to have you back on for this show because it's going to be done soon.
I know. I was trying to avoid it. I didn't want this time to be over because I enjoyed every second of getting to be on the show with you guys. So.
We enjoy having you.
Yes.
Which is why it's always nice to see you and have you back on. I'm glad you got to see this episode. We got to share this. Unless some really great shit happens in the next 7 episodes, I'm going on record saying this is my favorite episode of the entire fucking series.
I will be listening intently to see what you think of the ending.
I don't know. I don't know if I can make myself care any more than I did about this one. My emotional bandwidth is too taxed. Well, are there any old projects that are still floating around that you want people to check out, or?
I've still been writing and stuff. Still been writing a comic and stuff like that. I thought about that's the funny thing is I also was starting to feel like I wanted to get back on stage to do some stand-up right about middle to the end of February of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Good timing.
Yeah. That's perfectly my life. And so I'm like, maybe that's a sign from the universe that you're not funny. Don't do stand-up. This all happened because I was going to do stand-up is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, you can live with that on your brain. I grew up Catholic, so I know all about being cursed by God, which is just a stat. That's what they bring you up with. But you guys just didn't get to have birthdays and stuff, right?
Yeah. God liked us, but if we ever even saw a Christmas tree, we were doomed to nothingness after death.
Oh God, it's all made up, and then you can just make up your own story, and it'll be good. Everybody ends up having a happy ending when all of the anti-maskers choke on their viscera. Anyway, on that note, thank you for coming back in the home stretch, Devon. It's wonderful to have you on again. For those of you that are still listening, that core group that we love, you can send us an email at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. Some of you actually do. We appreciate that. Find us on Twitter and Instagram, slurmcastpod. You can rate and review us on iTunes. Just come on. We got 7 episodes left, even more for you guys. There's probably about 10 that are still going to come out for you to review. Just every one of them. Just give us a nice 5-star. Be like, this sucks. It was better 3.5 years ago when Horchie was on it, or whatever you want to say. Maybe I'm just saying, I don't agree with that, but share your opinions. Let people know. We've stuck with it, and we're glad that you have too. If you want, you can call us at 216-438-1077 even. That was a whole thing because it's the number, that 1077 is how much a pizza and a Coke cost when Fry was delivering pizzas in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Deep cuts.
Remembers. Yeah, deep cuts. We haven't gotten a phone number aside from a telemarketer asking me about debt collection in years at this point.
Knows how.
Really.
It's been a minute.
Send us a text. It'll make us feel more loved than the bots that try and make me go to their emails on Words with Friends.
I'm just going to text you I see Wiener every hour for the next 2 months.
Perfect. Or set up a bot on Twitter to do it. It'll be fantastic.
If I figure out how to do that, I will.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you for coming on. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Good to see you guys.
You and the people at home or wherever you are listening.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back again shortly.
Stay safe. Don't choke on your own viscera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.